So today, you lucky people, you get 1 and a bit streams, because I'm going to be finishing this one as well. Let's say that, I get a message. Oh God, I feel knackered today. So I need to try and do a drawing. That's not going to take me 17 years, because the last couple have taken me forever. Like, I thought that would take an hour, but no. I think I know what I'm going to do. I say that, I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure. Guess we'll find out. Move it over here. Oh man. Hi Samantha, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Oh, sorry if I sound shattered, because I am. Good to see you though, thank you for coming in. How are you? You good? Not a good time to feel knackered because I've got 2 drawings to do. I've got to finish off this one. Of course I'm good, thanks. That's good to hear. Good to hear. How's your work coming along? The one that you were doing yesterday, I believe it was looking great. I love the neon colours that you were using. Oh, excuse me. Oh, really? You weren't happy with it now? Because whereabouts were you when I left? You'd done like the foreground and the sort of neon flowery bit, and then I think you were just about to do something behind it. Am I right in thinking that when I had to shoot off? I think you were about to try something. You were about to do something with it. So is that what happened? Did it just not work out now? But yeah, I'm the same. I do like bright colours, specifically neon colours. Big fan. I've got like 3 sets of backups for my neons because I use them so much. Oh really? It's funny because the reason I started this sketchbook or this kind of stream is because I needed to do something with this book, and the whole point of it was just don't think about anything, just draw, just do whatever, and see what happens. So then you get all these kind of weird and wonderful things. So that was the first one, was it? So the whole point was to draw, just to see what you come up with. Don't think, just draw. But the problem was, I got like quite a few people asking about prints for these. So then I started thinking, oh no, I started putting pressure on myself, thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to make them look good and look like pieces and stuff like that. So there's been a couple of times where I've been like, no, that's not the point of it. And then I've just done pieces that I've not fully been happy with, where, you know, and the whole point was it's not supposed to be like something thought out, you just draw. Like I've got my other sketchbooks for pieces. Dead Hand, how's it going? Good to see you. Thank you for popping in. I love that your work is... Oh, thank you very much. I find I work best when I don't think. When I have plans, it gets messy. It's so hard not to put pressure. Yeah, 100,000,000%. Coob as well. Oh my god, everyone's in today. How's it going, Coob? You got the start of the stream. It's really, really good to see everybody. Thanks for coming in. I feel like absolute dog shit, by the way. I really do. Like, I've tried to get a bit of a nap. I woke up about 20 minutes ago. Naps do nothing for me. I don't know why I still try and do them. But no, thank you for all coming in. I feel like I've got to draw something decent now. And thank you for the likes as well, whoever's done that. I really appreciate it. But I was saying this to Coob, Samantha, because I don't think you've been in my live stream before. Me and Coob and Dead Hand as well, I've mentioned it too, where what I tend to do for pieces that I want to make like a really nice piece, I'll maybe put a little bit of structure in it, and I've got a scrapbook here. So I'll show a bit of, like, I'll just have little ideas like this, just scrapbook some random colours and shapes, see what works well together, like you can see there. And then when I find something I like, I'll kind of go with it. I'll expand it out and make a bigger version. That's like the first cheat sheet I did. Like there, for example, I thought, oh, I quite like that, and then I eventually turned it into, so this is the sketchbook where I first started. I eventually turned that one that you've just seen into, where is it? Can't really find it now. Where is it? There it is, that one. So that's kind of how my process normally works. I'll do like a scrapbook, half of an idea, and I'll expand it in here. So these can be proper pieces, and then I can maybe turn them into prints. Whereas this book that I'm drawing in now was meant to be just draw, like don't think about anything. And a couple of times I've overthought it, which has been annoying, but I've had a bit of an off day too. Slept poorly last night. That sucks, man. I hope you're all right, Koo. Like, I don't know what it is. I felt okay early, but I think just been a stressful few days. I think it's just caught up with me, and I just was like, nah. Amazing, really. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Flipping flies buzzing above my head there. I was meant to do some more work with some skull drawings that I did earlier, but like I've just had lots of admin and all that, you know, all that kind of business where you've got forms and stuff to sort out. And I had to chat about other things. But I said no, always keep this schedule, because what I'm doing by keeping this schedule is, especially with this book, I can just no thinking, turn your brain off, and at least you're doing something then as well. Like you're not just scribbling nonsense in your scrapbook, you're actually drawing something. And people can kind of see the process. It was actually, I think it might have been you, Koob, when you said you wanted to see more process work. Because I did a Monday stream of my scrapbook a while ago, but I thought, well, I'm not sure if that's a great insight. And I don't know how good that is to view. So I thought, you know, this book could help towards that. I've just got over the flu, hope you're not coming down with anything. Do you know what's funny you say that, Darren? I don't know if there's something going around, sort of the great UK at the minute, but most of my friends have had flus and colds. Like even some of my friends who live sort of further south than me have been getting over coughs and stuff. I thought my daughter might be coming down with something the other day. She said her throat was hurting, but she seems okay. It's really good for you to, yeah, I think that's it, because 100% that's Samantha, because one of the things I got told at college by one of my tutors was I'm a perfectionist. So what I would do is I would have the bigger picture, I'd have like the completed image of something in my head, and I just want to sprint towards it and get that there. And it's like, but you need to kind of, like you need to do your like sketches underneath it, if you like, to get a feel for it. And like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like planning, you know, growing it out, like planning it out. You start off with your rough sketch, then you sort of draw around it, that kind of thing. I've said before as well that I tried to do anatomy for a while, but I couldn't do it, or I didn't like it. So I've got like 2-3 sketchbooks full of it, and I might do a tour of it one day to show just to show people that, you know, failure's fine. Like it doesn't have to be this big, dramatic, like end of the world kind of thing. It's like, no, you know, I put a good stack of time into it, found out it wasn't something I ultimately wanted to pursue, but I got a lot from it. I blame the yeah. The warm weather is disgraceful at the minute. It's shocking. It's really annoying as well. Like anyone who's got sort of kids and family, or even just like basic routine, getting up for work and stuff. As Vodafone messaged me, go away Vodafone. I need to put do not disturb on as well. Yeah, like doing washing for the. It's warm, but it's not warm enough to intuitive art. So now I'm trying to push myself to actually draw things to show that the yeah, 100%. See, I don't know. I mean, Deadhand's. I think Deadhand, you're similar age to me, aren't you? I remember when I was at school. So year 10 and 11 would have been what 1999, 2000, around there. And that's when I first discovered graffiti when I was at school, like street art. But it was kind of, it wasn't really a cool thing, or I think I tried to work it in with pop art. I remember a GCSE art. We were trying to, you'd sort of pick something to work on, and I'd sort of picked pop art, even though I don't know. I remember my project was okay, but like graffiti art wasn't really a thing that you kind of looked at. And then when you went into college to do art, it wasn't something you really kind of did. And I kind of shied away from it because for ages I was like quite insecure about pursuing something that you really wanted to do. I thought you've got to do it all in the correct way, and so I like I thought, oh, you'll need like a degree or a diploma or whatever. Like you have to have the bit of paper to say that you can do art officially. I think I was a bit too hung up on that, which is why it's taken me so long to kind of get to this place, to think, you know what, sod all that. Especially the degree I went for, it was absolute bullshit. I was talking to my son about it. Yeah, was it this week? Because he went to visit his the secondary school he's going to be going to. So we were chatting about things, and like I was saying to him that, depending on what you want to do, don't just think you have to go to uni and all that sort of stuff. I forgot to put a feeler out somewhere. I'm just putting. There you go. Right, sorry about that. I love that you told your son. Yeah, like I want him to. Like I want to encourage him to do what he wants. Like, but I just tell him that, even if, let's say, I don't think he will do, because he hates being the center of attention. But like, if he told me he wanted to be an actor or a musician or whatever, I'd say that's absolutely fine. Give it a shot. But as long as you're putting the effort in. And I think with creative stuff nowadays, especially with YouTube, like you don't have to have, like you don't get stuck in that really annoying loophole of, you have to have like X amount of years experience, but you can't get the experience because you can't get your foot in the door in the job in the first place. So then you can't get the experience, kind of thing. You can make it more about the work as opposed to what it says on your CV. Because my main focus, I went to so many schools as a kid. I went to 9 in total. And I said the academic stuff will come when you're ready to do it your way. So the only thing I care about is your effort. I says if your effort column is at max, then that's all I'm bothered about. Like I don't want him to. Same with my daughter as well. My daughter's still like a little bit younger than him, but I just don't want them to freak out about GCSEs and all that sort of stuff, because they're not important. Like I'd never say to them, you know, don't do your homework or don't bother, but so true, it can impact you in a negative way creatively, depending on the goal. Yeah. Just like focus on the effort. Like I think I describe GCSEs as a thing that getting used to being able to do something in your life that you really don't want to do, but you're able to handle the grind of doing something you don't want to do. So you just think, if I get this out of the way, then I can just move on to the next thing that I actually want to do. Blimmin' school. So are you going to be working on a brand new piece today, Samantha? Or are you going to paint over the one that you were doing yesterday? Are you just going to sort of carry on making something new there, or are you going to work on something completely different? I think I remember going just before I went to bed last night as well. I was, after chatting to you, I went and looked at some frames to see how much they'd cost. Like a quick look on Amazon before I went to bed. Oh, my shoulder. I'll probably paint over a few pieces today since I'm out of canvas. Oh, nice. If I could do it all again, I'd put my effort into other things. It's only now I've started to learn the things I'm actually interested in on platforms like YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Samantha. If I ever, need some help, I'll definitely make sure you're one of my first port of calls. But dead hand, that is so true. I wouldn't change college. Like, college was so good. Like, education, what all college was to me was just a stepping stone to get to university. All I had to do was just pass college to get to university. But college was awesome. That's where I met my best friends in the whole world, and my missus as well. So I wouldn't change that. Like, I did graphic design at college, that's where I really started to sort of develop my love and passion for graffiti. But most of graphic design, I thought, it's not really for me. There were parts of it that I really liked, but other parts I just thought. I remember doing we had to learn advertising and graphic design, and Jesus, was that dull. Yeah, university was the big disappointment though. Holy hell. Absolute garbage. Yeah, tomorrow, normally on a Tuesday and a Thursday, I'll try and do one of these ones. Or I might try and crack an A6 piece out. But I've got parents' evening at 4:30. I've got it written down somewhere. So I don't know what I'll be able to get done tomorrow. Plus, I've set aside Tuesdays and Thursdays. In fact, most of Wednesdays now as well. Like, I'll try and get a TikTok live out on a Wednesday, but mostly in the middle of the week, I'll be working on the stuff I'm gonna sort of be selling on my website. So the original copies of stuff. Dropped out of school. Dropped out of school in grade 8, so I never made it to college. I wish I had that experience. Yeah, I'd say college as an experience was amazing. Like, it was just such a good laugh, such a good time. I wouldn't change that for the world. I thought it was brilliant. Like, I'm still friends with pretty much everybody from college. I absolutely loved it. And I went 20 years ago when I was there. Well, more than 20 years ago now. The advertising part of graphic design killed my passion for it and is my main reason for dropping it. I do not blame you. Get this right, you two will find this funny. Well, I'm sure everybody will. But I remember we got a book of briefs. I still have it somewhere. I am almost tempted to fish it out if I knew exactly what it's in. One of my drawers. Oh, is it in that drawer there? We got a book of briefs, right? So there's this green book, and you picked whatever project you wanted to do, and one of them was an advertising one. So I had to visually represent a radio advert. Now, as a 19, no, it would have been 17 even. 17 or 18, however old I was. I'm like, I don't, how do you represent something visually on a radio, right? And he sort of says, well, think about it, you know, what would you do? So basically, long story short, I just drew a picture of a radio and then a speech bubble out of it. But I thought it can't be that, because that's just a bit crap. It's not brilliant. But I thought, well, you know, I've done my best there. Teachers, you know, kind of said, yeah, that's fine. That's a good representation. And I got an okay mark for it. Which I'm like, well, okay, fine, but it's a rubbish brief. Cut to a couple of weeks later, a friend of mine who he wasn't, you know, he didn't really work that hard in the class. I think he'd kind of checked out. He did the same project because he decided to do that one later. He wasn't really asked about it, so he just says, oh, what did you do for this one? So I told him. He did a not as good version of mine and got a better mark than I did. And I just thought, oh, okay, now. I remember, because you have to do, because it was broken up into, like, I think there was like advertising section, logo section, and blah, blah, blah. There was like 3 or 4 different kind of sections of work you had to do, but you had to do at least 3 from each or something like that. So you couldn't just get away with not doing any advertising stuff. You had to do at least 3 advertising projects. So I just did the ones that were the least annoying. And I remember one of them being Heinz sandwich spread. And I just remember thinking, who the hell would choose to go into advertising? This is some of the most boring crap ever. So yeah, dead hand. Fucking just. But yeah, it's just shite. And he's saying thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry, you just caught me in the middle of having an absolute moan, or me and Dead Hand having a moan about advertising because hot garbage. I'm tempted to go and grab that book of briefs to have a look. But yeah, there were so many little projects that I thought, this is just shit. I thought, why would you do this? But yeah, college fun. I did like logo design though, like when you had to create your own logo from scratch. Like I did like that because that's when I kind of developed my passion for graffiti, because I like manipulating letters. So I'd get like a letter and just, you know, muck about with it. Yeah, I don't think I'd enjoy that. Yeah, 100% Coob. Yeah, logo design, when you've got free reign with it, It can be. I remember one of the first projects. I think it was the first project. Was it the same year or a different year? Where there's a shop in the UK called B&Q. Was it B&Q? I'm sure it was B&Q. So that would be the equivalent of like a Home Depot, I guess, where it's you know, like big bits of wood for your garden and drills, and then like one section of the store would be bathrooms, you know, that kind of store. And we had to design so above the aisles, you get this in all kinds of shops. There'll be like a big board above an aisle saying nuts and bolts, and then the next aisle would be plastics and wood or whatever. And we had to design those. And I thought, well, there's not really much designing going on here because it's just and as well, the only colours we could use were black and red. So it just boiled down to all you were doing was picking a font. And I thought, there's not really much design happening here. It's just you picking off a list of fonts and, you know, going with that. Unless there was a part of that I don't remember where we had to just, you know, explain why we picked the font we did. But I don't know. Yeah, some areas of graphic design are really, really fun. Other areas are just... I'm pretty sure Guantanamo Bay uses torture devices. Because, Jesus, they were boring. Boring. But I'm sure somebody would find this boring. Oh, we're talking about graphic design in college. We are indeed, Anison, we are indeed. My days as a young graphic designer at college. Because I did it at school as well. Although, get this, there is a huge, I suppose, regret that I had at school. So in year 11, this was the year before I went to college. So I would have been 15, I was in year 11. The project was you had to design packaging or a logo or something like that around a brand new product. So I remember somebody did like a logo and a little model for a nightclub. Somebody did it for, I want to say, a sports product. And I decided to do a brand new logo for a new video games console because that's what I was into. But what I did, and I regret this so much now, is I've still got my original N64. I still have it. But I used it was the GoldenEye one as well. I used the box, so I cut up the box and used the images of the games and stuck them on my packaging. And I thought I was being really clever at the time, but I'm thinking, why on earth would you do that? One of the biggest L's ever. We had pretty boring assignments too, but I remember I had a classmate who liked the stuff I designed, so I got to make their band logo. Oh, that's pretty cool. At least you got something out of it. Yeah, both you, because I know you both like your video games. Yeah, just what? It wasn't long after. I think I was I at uni? No, it wasn't that long. I just remember thinking, you dickhead, why did you do that? It wouldn't have taken. The thing is, it wouldn't have taken much for me to just, you know, it was 1999. It wasn't like in the blooming Stone Age. I could have easily just got some images off a computer of some games and just printed them off. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't have taken that much effort. But no, I thought, oh, I'm using real props or whatever, so I'll get more, like a better grade. But my goodness, what a dickhead. I did some graphic designing for a medical clinic. Not my favourite, but I paid the college expenses with the money I made from... It was pretty, yeah. So I've got a few mates who I went to college with. One of them, he's got his own business. He started his own business 15 years ago, and he's still going strong. And another friend works for a really big sweets company now. So they're doing great, you know. But they were really good at it though. They like they got it. They really liked design, but they were just like really good at it. So they were able to sort of crack on with it. Whereas I was like drawing. Bet your teacher didn't even acknowledge such a... No, she did not. If I'd have got an extra grade or something, then fine. But the thing is, though, at that point, my GCSE grades meant nothing as well. That's why I thought, why did I put so much effort into that? Like, I was done. Because like you'll know in England, you go to your GCSEs basically start in year 10. So you'll do like a work placement. You'll pick your options, and they go from like year 10 to year 11, and then you do your exams in year 11. But when I was in year 10, I moved school right at the start of year 10. I went to England and moved to Scotland to do year 10, and the curriculum in Scotland is just worlds apart from England. So you didn't do a work placement, and what you get taught is it's just not the same. So I ended up being in the bottom group for most stuff because the curriculum was just so different. And then by the time I got to year 11, I'm like, yeah, I've got no chance. But I remember my mum and dad were really cool about it because my dad acknowledged that because we'd moved, he was like, just don't worry about it. He said, just try your best, that's all you can do. And luckily, the college that I went to, they did a GNVQ course. So like if you didn't get the grades at school, what you could do was a GNVQ in art. And then when you passed that, that was the equivalent of 4 Cs, which is what you needed to do graphic design, which is what I wanted to do at the time. So I basically, because I failed my GCSEs, I got an extra year at college. So it was more advantageous to fail my GCSEs because I got an extra year doing art at college. Make that make sense. That's what I was saying, like, to Samantha earlier, like, yeah. Chatting to my kids about school, like, I'd never tell them to fail anything, but I wouldn't put all the pressure in the world on them. There's no point. It's like, it's not that important. Like, your GCSEs are not that. Just put as much effort in as you can, and then go from there. There's nothing much you can do. True. I think this is this the most I've had in at one time? 6 people? No, I think it's 9. I think 9 is the most I've ever had in here at once. I think the fact that I've scheduled my stream at 6 PM, I think that's starting to pay off. Because it was random before. Like, no one knew when to catch me. But I think it's starting to pay off a little bit now. Yeah, you picked a good day as well, because when I've finished with this one, I need to finish this one. I didn't get to finish it because my phone battery ran out. So that's how far I got. I think I was going to just maybe do this little corner here and that corner, and then be done with it. But yeah, Dead Hand, I think you're right about the weather. I think that's messing me up a bit. I feel just really lethargic and crappy. It's not helping me. It's good because my YouTube was that out of focus? No, okay. Yeah, my YouTube was slowing down a little bit, and my TikTok was starting to blow up a bit. So in the last 3 weeks, I think I've doubled my sub account. I made that one video that went a bit viral, and I've started live streaming, which has really helped on there. I've had some lovely comments as well from people. I had somebody yesterday. No, when was that on? Saturday, Sunday? I don't know. Very kindly said I was the best artist on TikTok. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a little ego stroke as much as the next. But I was like, it's very generous of you, but no, I cannot accept that title. But I'm more than happy for you to make that comment. I've just thought, I actually can't remember what pen I used for this one. I think it was a 0.01, I think. In fact, I'm sure it was because I got some new ones that I started using. I'm sure it was. Your work is really inspiring, as you well know. No, it's really lovely to hear. It's good. It gives you the confidence to carry on because you're never sure, like, because it's not like this kind of work that I'm doing is not as obvious as, say, other work I've done. I think I've showed you before when I did the like when I used to digitally paint movie characters. Like, I got some good attention from it, but it wasn't kind of uniquely my work, if you know what I mean. I just wanted to draw what I thought was fun. Like, I just enjoy seeing what patterns and shapes I can make with just basic stuff. Always nice to get an ego stroke. It is. Obviously, you just don't want to let it get to your head. No, I've said I look at my work. I always look at my work and then look at other artists' work and just think, yeah, core your engines, Jamie. You've still got a long way to do. I'll always just have a quick look at sorry, not Digital Does. Well, his work as well, but Dime's work. I found the book over here, so I'll just always look at this guy. One of the first favourite artists. The Mad Ding Dong, hello. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. Yeah, so... yeah, Mirko Reiser Dime, he's one of my favourite artists. I'll just look at his work and think, yeah, you've got a long way to go. Like, that's his work. I'm like, yeah, until you make anything as good as that, you know, take your compliments, but, you know, eat your humble pie as well. This is a brand new pen, but I think the nib has been scratched. But how are you anyway, Ding Dong? Thank you for coming in. I'm not sure if you've been in here before, but thanks for joining. I was chatting to a friend of mine who I went to university with yesterday. He's got a YouTube channel called Hit Points, and he put his first video up a couple of weeks ago, and it was like a mini sort of essay about it's called The Brief History of Violence Around Mortal Kombat, and it was a really cool video, like really informative, and I like those kind of things anyway. And he was sort of talking about the YouTube algorithm and stuff, something that I've moaned about a lot in the past because I just can't figure it out. Like I don't understand what makes your stuff go viral. Like I've looked at all the sort of YouTube help channels that say, you know, make sure you get a thumbnail and tag it and da 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 da. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not sure any of that really works. They do something better than you, but they can, yeah, I guess. I suppose one of the reasons mine works is because it's simple, but then again, I said the perfect example of someone where the work looks simple but it's unreal is there's a comic artist called Alex Ross. He's like like one of the most famous comic artists out there. He's the guy who did I don't know if anyone's seen Spider-Man 2, the one with Tobey Maguire, and then at the end credits, I think it's the start and end credits, there's like the paintings of all the scenes and characters. That's him, and it looks, I just don't know how he does this. I mean, it'll be years and years of experience and practice, but it looks like really simple, but it's not, kind of thing. Like I just think, how's he done that? Like it's so perfect. I know perfect doesn't exist, but it's like as close to perfect as you can get. It's like he's followed that kind of thing that I was talking about last time, where you draw shapes, not things. But yeah, his work just... I think maybe that's one of the reasons I stopped doing anatomy, because it's a case of I'd want my anatomy to be as good as that, but that's just so many years of hard work and grind, and like you would have had to have gone to, we wouldn't have had to, but I guess I would have had to have gone to like art college or art school specifically around anatomy, which I never did. Like I tried to teach myself anatomy and it got to the point where I didn't enjoy it as much. I just found it way too grindy, and I could never get the I could never get it to look exactly how I wanted. I remember saying before that one of the things I couldn't grasp with it was when you had to draw the skull or the head looking up or looking up and to the side. I could never nail that. I think I did it once, and I was like so proud of myself that I did it, but I could never recreate it. And I just, by the end, I'm like, nah, I just can't. This is just too much for me. Yeah, I'll probably do a quick. I'll probably do a tour of them one day if I can find them. Are they up there? How many sketchbooks? I'm looking at 4 sketchbooks on here. I didn't know I did that many. I thought I did 5 sketchbooks. I don't think I did that many. Okay, I may have made a mistake here. One of them. Oh no, I bought a set. Anyway, who cares? I remember I got another sketchbook for perspective to draw vehicles and things like that, because I also wanted to try and do environment design as well. When it started off at uni, I wanted to do like level design. I think that was my big thing. And then I thought maybe character design, I don't know. Either way, it took me a while to settle on this. There's an artist, I'm just reminding myself there, on YouTube called Jezza. He used to be called Draw with Jez. He's an Australian artist. I actually learned a lot from him, where he used to do animations on Flash. He's done some other things. He's done like a lot of other things since then. He's got like millions of subs now. And he put, I don't always catch his stuff like as much as I want to these days, but he put out a video the other day, and like he seems like quite an emotional guy, but I can kind of understand where he's coming from. Like he was talking about how he, if I remember rightly, like he felt like he couldn't keep up with making as many videos to keep up with the algorithm. So he started a Patreon, but he seemed like quite worried and scared. Like, I think, why would people sign up? Like almost like a really bad case of imposter syndrome. Like he's talked about his health issues and stuff as well. But just really like even like people give him criticism stuff, and I think, well, I can understand that. Like if you've got loads of people who like your work and you're still not sure of yourself, you know, you can get in your own head and stuff. And it's like, I totally get it. But the man's worked his arse off, so it's like, mate, you crack open with a Patreon. You're a 3D environmental artist. Oh, nice one. Have you worked on any mainstream stuff? Again, if my university course wasn't total and utter arse, I may have gone in that direction. I saw his video about making Patreon. Yeah, that's, you would have seen it, Goob. That's the one I'm on about. Yeah. Yeah, I did feel for him. Like I just think, you know, when you put that much pressure on yourself, like you think you've got to, you know, you've got to sort of sacrifice yourself at the altar to make sure everybody's happy and stuff. And it's like, nah, dude. Because I think he spoke about how he did a donation thing as well, and how he didn't want to ask for money. And like, I get that, but I totally understand, because at the end of the day, like when I'm drawing this stuff, when I'm putting myself live, essentially when I'm selling my work, I am asking for people for money. I'm trying to give them something in exchange for it, but I mean, it's on a much smaller scale for me, obviously. But good job, Vinicius Costa. Thank you very much, and welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. Did I pronounce that right? Vinicius. Hope I did. Wanted to give the guy a hug. He seems so hard. Yeah, but I kind of get it. Like, I mean, he's under far more pressure than me. But it's like I was chatting to when I was in Samantha's stream yesterday, and I was asking her about pricing and stuff. Like I've seen people price their work at thousands of pounds, and I wouldn't bat an eyelid at it. It's like, yeah, I can't afford to buy that, but then it might not be for me. But I would never say to anybody, you shouldn't be selling your work at that. It's like, no, if you think your work is worth that much, then, you know, that's what you sell it as. Like, I'm more than happy to and confidently tell anybody, you sell your work what you think it's worth. If people moan at you for it, then just tell them to sit on it. Like they don't have to buy it. Well, obviously, don't say that to them because they might, get upset, and you don't want to come across as an arsehole. But you get the idea. Like, it's a case that's fine. If you don't think my stuff's worth that, it's fine. It's not for you. But with my own stuff, I'm like, do I ask for this much? I don't know. I say it with a very sound, but overall you aced the pronunciation. Oh, nice one, thank you. Glad I did. Don't know if you've heard of the title. It's called The Immortals of Avium. Our studio worked on it. I have not, but I'll certainly look it up. And thank you for the 4th like, whoever did that. Really appreciate it. Immortals of Avium. Is it like an independent project? I do tend to sort of look more at indie stuff these days than... Wait a minute, have I seen this before? One of these screenshots looks familiar, but... God, that looks madness. And you worked on this? That's flipping awesome. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like looking from the pictures, but it looks like an FPS spell 'em up. Like, no, good job, man. That looks amazing. By EA. I've seen some great work on the environment. Yeah, it looks sick. Yeah, that's what my uni was meant to train me up to do, to work in games like that. But no, they just said, "Hey, I'd 3D model a cupboard, stick that in your portfolio, and go to flipping Blizzard." But then again, this was way back in, when did I graduate? 2007. So that would have been in the PS2. No, I think it was just before the 360 and PS3 came out. I think they came out that year. Was it the year before? I'm positive we didn't do anything because we were working on the Unreal 3 engine mostly. Well, we were like learning 3D modeling software and stuff, but yeah, it was mainly Unreal Tournament 3. No, Unreal Tournament 2004, but then Unreal Tournament 3 came out, and then we were using that engine. I'm off to play some Rocket League with my cousin. Keep up the good work, mate. No, thank you very much, Coob. Always appreciate you joining in. Always good to speak to you. You go and kick some ass on Rocket League, my friend. But EA Games, man, that's good stuff. Technically, I'm still a newbie. Just my 3rd year since I got this job. I'm just 25. Mate, that is very impressive. It's going to be legend. Damn straight it will be, Cube. You go for it. But Annie Sin, that is very impressive. Yeah, I was 22. I was 22. God, I can't remember what I was. Yeah, 22 when we finished. But like I've mentioned this to Coob and a few others before, that when we did that course at uni, so I went to Swansea to do mine, and it was the first year. So in 2004 was my first year. That was the first year across the country, because I remember going into UCAS in Manchester, where you pick your options and whatever. And I just looked at universities that did anything to do with video game design, and there were only a handful. Swansea was one of them. Portsmouth was the other, because that was my 3rd choice. And I think there were a couple of others, but not many. And Swansea had a really good reputation. So the guy who designed the Tumblr for the Dark Knight films, I think he went to that university I went to. A group of guys who did the Lord of the Rings CG went to Swansea because they had it plastered all over the walls. But they did the animation course, so I had like a really good CG department. But the games course that I signed up to do, me and my friends, wasn't even ready. So we had to spend the first 3 to 4 weeks. I can never remember the exact time. It was around about 3 or 4 weeks we had to spend doing animation. So we ended up doing things like, there was like film studies class. Some of the classes were really interesting, but ultimately not really much to do with what we were looking to do. And then by the end it was just a shit show. Like, it was a brand new course, brand new budget. So they said, oh, you get a field trip, where would you like to go? And we all straight away, E3, get us over to Los Angeles, that's where we need to be. All the new game stuff. I'm not sure if Resden Eurogamer was up and running yet. It probably was, but I don't think we knew about it. Got to know, no, you're not going there. The year after us, so the next year that came into it, I think they ended up going to Monaco. What the hell for? I don't know, but it's like, oh, that could, yeah, I bet that was cheap, wasn't it? So yeah, just a lot of bad blood, I think. And then like our class were just like, no, we've kind of checked out of this. We're not getting anywhere with this, are we? I've still got some 3D stuff floating about my hard drive somewhere. I remember having to animate a bouncing ball. I was quite happy with that, actually. Quite liked it. But EA at 25, that is very, very impressive. Are you enjoying it as well? Is it good? Because obviously you hear rumours about big companies like EA and Bethesda and all that, and there was that big thing a few years ago with the was it the crunch? Was it called the schedule crunch? Like people being overworked. Would love to see something. Yeah, my 3D work would be a load of shite compared to yours. I remember we had to do. I think I modelled a cyborg, but we borrowed a rig from somewhere, as in a 3D rig, not a mocap rig. And I remember I kind of just quite lazily just put it on to sort of my model, but I remember looking back at it and proportionally it's off, like it doesn't look right. I think the legs are too short or something like that, so it looks like a giant toddler. It just looks really weird. But some of the 3D modelling stuff I did enjoy. Like, I really enjoyed modelling buildings. And sort of, I think we had to, there was like one of the projects was a museum. So we had to like design a safe and like a valuable inside it. I remember mine was like it was like a marble checkered floor with like a cage with red lasers, because as you'll know, when you first discover how to do something specific in a software, like I think I discovered glow or something, so I just made these red glowing tubes to make it look like lasers. And because this would have been in Maya 2000 and what edition would that have been then? 2004. Yeah, that was. I've mentioned some of these before as well. Like Maya, we jumped about. We first learned how to use Maya, then 3ds Max. Then they got somebody all the way in from America to teach us how to use Cinema 4D, which was like, yeah, this is great and all, but you're just teaching us how to use software as opposed to teaching us how to design things. You know what I mean? But yeah, my 3D work, I haven't done 3D work in a while. think Blender's sort of the one now, isn't it? Is it Blender? Is it Blender? That free one. Am I thinking of the right one? Blender? I don't know, I can't remember. There's one called 3D Coat as well. A friend of mine started using that, but yeah, I just wish Ascendant Studio, who were published by EA. I've got that wrong, yeah. Doing the right, okay, I'm with you, I'm with you. Ascendant, yeah, I'd never heard of Ascendant Studio. Or have I? I don't know, I can't remember. I haven't kept up with a lot of gaming studios. Is it good though? Are you having fun sort of working Blender, yeah, powerful tool. But you're enjoying it, yeah? I was saying in one of the last streams that I did that I still, even though video game design, even though that's what I learned at uni, it's definitely not the thing that I'm interested in doing. Like drawing was always my first love, and you know, I remember it was my older sister. It was at the end of year 11, and she said, you know, what do you love doing, and what do you enjoy doing? And I enjoy drawing, and I love video games. So I thought, you know, combine the two, and you know, video game design didn't exist as a course back then, so graphic design was kind of the next thing that I thought was closest to it. And for like quite a while I thought, yeah, I want to be a game designer, or I want to design something, but I'm not very good at coding. Because I remember when Super Meat Boy came out in 2007, and it was two guys, and they worked their arse off. Like one of them was just doing all the sprite work, one of them did all the coding. And I just thought, see, I couldn't do that because I don't know how to code. I mean, things like Game Maker and Construct obviously help with that side of stuff now, and I used Construct. I think it was it on the last stream I showed? No, I think it was on a TikTok stream, and I showed somebody. It might have been you, Dead Hand, that I did. Let's see what you think. This is the only thing I've got video games wise. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. So I used Construct, and I made this. Just a little, a little 2D shooter. Because these are my favourite kind of games, or these are some of my favourite kind of games. You can't really see that, can you? Yeah, so I've always kind of had an itch to make a game like that, but the time it would take to make it would be so long, and there's never a guarantee that it's going to be successful. Like, you know, shoot 'em ups aren't sort of the most popular games in the world. Like, you know, the Days of R-Type on the Amiga. That's sort of what I was used to play. So there's never a guarantee it would be popular. The environment was newbie friendly, and honestly, that's all I could have asked for. Yeah, a little bit of support. Yeah, that's what you want. Bang on that. I don't know shit about coding either. Yeah, I just I hate it. I can't make anything remotely close to that. It's not that like what motivated that was. I remember at uni, like one of the biggest criticisms we got of the course we did was they didn't really teach us to design anything. They just said, "Here's a model a chair," or whatever. But I remember the class we had, I think we only did it for maybe a few weeks, where we learnt Game Maker. Now, I was dreadful at it. Like, I just couldn't get to grasp with it. Because what they do is they wrap up the code in buttons. And then so you've got like a ship and then an object. But you need to code the ship to fire a bullet to break the object. And all you did was just, all the code to do that were wrapped up in buttons. So like, there'd be like a shoot button, a destruction button, and a fire button, and then you'd attach like a speed button to the bullet. It was still complicated, but way, way, way easier than like proper coding. And I couldn't really get it at first, and then it wasn't until after uni, like I found Construct, and I taught myself some bits and pieces on that, and then I made that. Because the animation sprite as well, like I drew every single sprite freehand on, I think it was, would it have been Photoshop at the time? So like every stage of the explosion I drew, and then you just sort of frame it as a bit of animation. And I did enjoy doing that, but I just knew that there's no way I could, on my own, get a fully fledged game out. The time would just be, it would be years. I mean, looking back when I started it, maybe if I'd put everything I had into that and just never stopped, maybe I could have had something out. But again, would I have been happy with it? And what would have happened if I'd released it and I got what, maybe 100? It's like, it sucks because you don't do it for the money, but ultimately, because I still love video games and I'd love to kind of mess about with making one, but yeah, just if it didn't work out, it's like, then what would you do? And luckily for me, like I discovered that drawing's always been my first sort of passion. I'm better at it, and like ultimately I was able to discover that I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to have to sort of mess around with some bullshit projects. I think a way to cheat these drawings is to maybe sort of thin them in a bit, because to draw the whole page would just take forever. I mean, yeah, the models I make take weeks, plus the amount of time spent in front of a screen is... yeah, that was another thing. Being in front of a computer for so long. Because I got there's a website I remember, you might have heard of this. I think it was called World of Environments. And there was like a book that they had. I remember getting it, and it tells you about like the in-depth, the amount of depth of like just to make like just a level for a game was loads. Like the detail of it, like putting a story behind the environment. Why is it that everything has to have a place, kind of thing. And I was like, Jesus. because there was I might have even had that as well actually in here. I've got some 3D stuff in here. Yeah, I made a castle in Unreal, but what I did was, I don't know if you can see that. So that was in Unreal, but I used like all the sort of objects in the engine itself. Like I didn't model them in Maya or 3ds Max and import them. I just thought I may as well do it all in the engine itself. But the problem I had was that I made it too big, so it slowed the computer down so much. Like when I started adding textures and stuff, like oosh. Like I had fun doing it, like it was, but I just thought, yeah, I don't know if I can. I don't know if you can see that. Like I did have fun doing it, but it just started slowing the computer down so much, and I thought that's just the environment, and I thought maybe it is better then to import it. Yeah, well, before your time, yeah. That's what I was doing back in the day, Unreal. I mean, I've seen some bits and pieces from the new Unreal Engine, and it looks insane. I'm thinking that's a far cry for when I was using the engine. And then Unity came along. I could never get on with Unity though, because that was more at the time. Like a lot of 2D games were made in that, but I think you did have to know a bit of coding. And I mean, the news with them recently shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know what the hell they were thinking pulling that. I don't know if you've heard about what they did. But I just thought, there's no way you can pull that off without it going tits up. For those who don't know, pre-existing. Yeah, there was a website called Turbo Squid. I think that's what it was called. You could buy assets from that and import them in. But the whole point from like our perspective was that we had learned how to model them, so, and you could like make sort of assets and sell them on websites. It was Turbo Squid 3. Was it 3D Total? I don't know if that's still knocking about. I used to collect so many images from 3D Total and Turbo Squid. I think I've still got folders on my computer somewhere, just tons and tons and tons of buildings and cars and things like that. Yeah, I tried using Unity and I just couldn't get my head around that. I thought I'll stick to Construct instead. It's more my speed. But it makes sense though, like for your basic things like I don't like if you need just sort of environment touch-ups like bushes or benches or sort of basic trees. The amount of time it would take to model a load of them. It's probably time you need to sort of do more important things. I've just realised, are people liking there's the heart thing in the bottom right of the chat? Are people pressing that? If they are, and thank you. I don't know if that means anything, but thank you for pressing it. I had a dying laptop my whole college life, taking hours to pull out. What? Yeah, have I still got my old computer from then? I think so. Turbo Squid, yeah, it's still going, is it? I think I've still got like tons of images I used to collect from it, like just buildings and environments and stuff. But yeah, I just thought modelling basic shit was not my, let's just say it's not my passion. How long is this one taking? An hour 20. It's not taking as long as I thought it would. Yeah, that's why I usually just put texture to get the illusion. Can't read that bit. What was I saying? Gets heavy, yeah. I remember learning about. I forget the technical name of it. Yeah, because I'm just trying to. God, yeah, it's a while since I've done this stuff. Because it was Maya that we worked mostly. Maya and 3ds Max, so it was. Oh, it begins with N because you could model an object. I want to say nerves, but it's not nerves. It's like a polygon box, but then it's like it almost looks like a mold inside of it. What's it called? I'm sure it begins with N. You could do it that way, or you could do like a basic poly model, but then I forget the name of it, where you make the texture look like you've just said there. The texture does all the work to make it look 3D, because it would calculate. So it'd be a flat plane, but it's much more sophisticated now. But I remember when we first learned about this in 2004 or 5, whenever it was, and we were blown away by it because they were saying, "Oh yeah, this is where you're going to be able to make much bigger worlds and things like that." Because they were telling us about like the amount of polygons a console can use at once, and I'm pretty sure I remember it stuck in my mind. A GameCube was 150,000 at one time. PBR texturing. Is that what it's called? It's a flatbook. Yeah. I don't remember it being called. Yeah, that's obviously what it would be because you know more than me. But I just remember being like learning about that at uni, and like our tiny little minds were blown away by it because they were saying this is going to be the next big thing. At 2005, when GTA San Andreas had just come out. Because I remember when that game came out, and a few people were bitching because it didn't look quite as nice as Vice City. But the reason is they had to kind of tone down the graphics a bit to make space for everything else because it was such a huge game on the PS2. God, you're bringing my uni days back to me now. Holy shizzles. Learning about blins, texture mapping, and all that stuff. Like, I don't know what 3D software you use, but I remember like it was all the nodes and stuff. You had to join them up. I think that may be one of the reasons why it just didn't suit me. Like, I remember when we did animation briefly, and thank you for the 5th like, by the way. I've just seen that. I appreciate it whoever did that. But when we were doing animation briefly, I mentioned earlier about I had to model or animate a beach ball just bouncing up and down, and I liked it, but each animation stage was you had to just insert numerically every keyframe, and I thought, well, this is just a bit. I'd rather hand draw it than keyframe it. because it was fun, but I just thought it just didn't feel very creative. Do you know what I mean? It felt very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like calculate, a bit too calculated. I used Maya and 3ds Max. Yeah, we used Maya the first year, then 3ds Max the second year. One of my favourite things to do was, it was like you, oh, what was it called? It wasn't a bevel, but I'd kind of get a square or like a cube, and on one of the faces I'd bring the, oh, what was it called? You'd bring in an extra line, so it would be, I'll have to draw it to explain it because I'm crap at explaining stuff. So it would be, I'll use this. So you'd have like your cube like that. But what I would do is, I forget the tool of it, you'd bring it in like this. And then I'd push the middle square in to make the windows of whatever it is you were making. Like that, do you know what I mean? But imagine that, I'd do like a massive block and I just, like with every polygon I'd push it in and then it would be like, that might be my little cheat way of making a building. I forget what it's called though. We are assimilating Blending into our world, into our work pipeline. I don't blame you, to be honest, because it's free. It's still free, isn't it? So you'd save some cash there. And it's meant to be really, really good now, isn't it? There's loads and loads of stuff online for it. But yeah, I forget all the terminology. In Inset, that's the very one, thank you, Inset tool. I was an absolute hewer for the Inset tool. I used it all the time on my buildings and stuff. And then extrude -1 or whatever it was. Yeah, we'd always joke about, me and my mates at uni always used to joke about how much emphasis was on sort of Maya. Like we created a character called Maya Man, and he'd be like the world's crappiest superhero, just walking around like, extrude and bevel. It's like you're not getting in the Avengers any day soon, are you, pal? Because we weren't really learning anything pretty significant at uni, we just thought we'll make up our own character then. And take the piss out of the tubes for it. But yeah, got the insets all. God, you were giving me flashbacks. It's buried in all my work from uni. I'm sure I still have it. It's buried in my hard drive somewhere, or my external hard drive that I copied over. I remember one of the things I did, I was so proud of this. In fact, oh, will it be on my Facebook? I think I mentioned it earlier, I did this little pot. It was when I discovered it was like a paint tool almost, so I could paint fire and rain into the scene. And I rendered it, and it was this little plant pot on like some grass. And I remember thinking, this is like the best thing I've ever done in my life. I don't think I'll have it. Let me just have a very quick search. It's free and more studios are using it, so yeah, that's if you know but other studios are moving over to it, you know, get ahead of it. You know, you may as well keep up with it and use it as well. Oh yeah, I'll show you one of the very first things I ever made. I'll be a very quick search because I need to get back to the drawing, but because we're having this chat, I can't help but just think I've got to go and find this. 3D. Where is it? 3D digital reference. University work. I found it, I think. Oh my god. I've not seen these in ages. Oh yeah, I had to do a... Oh my god. What have I unearthed here? We had to do a project on... I did like a presentation on games addiction. Oh my god. What have you made me unearth here? Right, I'll get a picture of it and then show you. Hang on. Sorry to everyone else who's in here, but oh my god. Right, there you go. Oh, you can't really see it. Hang on, I'll get a better picture than that. There, we'll do it that way. There you go. So that that was like a fence. This was my final year project, by the way. So that was it was meant to be like a barn. Like I was going to do a barn inside that. And it was going to be like an arena where zombies would jump over the fence and you had to fight them off. But I remember making that. And I thought it looked like this shit at the time. But that wasn't the one I was talking about. Oh, where is it? Is it in there? Oh, you've really made me want to find this. I've just found a folder full of stone textures. These are 20 years old, these folders. I can't believe they still work. God, that's my final major project. What have you... I don't even care anymore. Is it textured too? Yeah, sadly, it was. Yeah. Oh, there you go. I found it. Right, sorry to everyone else, but I just had to show... I had to show Annie Sin this. So this was the very first thing. No, go away. I don't care about any of that. This was the very first thing I ever modelled at uni. And I was so proud of this. Look at that, eh? Look at that bad boy. So yeah, it's like a pot of flowers with grass and fire. That was in my 2003 edition, whatever that was. I was so happy with that. And then that museum project thing we did as well. I'll get a picture of that, show you. God, it even looks old, doesn't it? There you are, look at that. Look at that bad boy. I discovered what the glow tool was, and then look at that. Beautiful work, yeah. I can't believe I still have that. But yeah. My computer is heating up just looking at it. I did that on it was an old Sony Vaio laptop. I remember I got it specifically for uni, and I was buzzing when I bought that. But yeah, there you go, blast from the past. 2000, when did I go to uni? 102 or 203, 2004. That's when I made that. But no, it wasn't. It didn't eat up that much. Oh no, the museum one I did at uni, so that was on the computers at uni. I did that one. There were these fucking Dell pieces of shit. I mean, they did the job, but Dell. But yeah, I was so made up with myself. I was so happy. I was like, oh my god. The reflection on the tiles is like, oh, thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. I have assumed you are a sir there. You may not be a sir. Apologies if you're not. But no, thank you. Those were 2 bits of work, like 2 bits of 3D models. I was like so chuffed with it at the time. I look back now and it's, you know, it was good fun. But yeah, God, I'm finding all my university work. So proud of myself when I made that plant, that little plant pot. What was it? You might know what it was. It was I've just remembered how I'd modelled it now. There was like a line tool. So you draw a line. It was like was it a vector tool or something? So you draw, where's that bit of paper I had a minute ago? Oh, it's all done. So you had like a line tool, you'll know what I'm on about. So you'd maybe just draw a line like this. And then you'd press the tool and it would loop round and make a pot or a bottle. So it'd be like, in my case, it was like that. And then you'd press whatever it was and it'd loop. And it would create like a bottle or a pot. And then, what was the tool? It was kind of like a paint tool, so you could almost paint like foliage. You like put a surface, like put a plane on top of the pot, and then you just draw with your paintbrush, and like little bits of grass and shrubbery would pop up from it. That's how I got the plants. And then yeah, the grass was the same, and then I think the fire and the rain were like a paint effect. First class, yeah. You would have learned the same thing as us, yeah. Mad that. Yeah, Maya 2003. Blew our tiny little heads off that. But yeah, I was chuffed to bits when I did that little plant pot. I thought nothing will get better than this. And it didn't. Yeah, I would have been 19 when I did that. Half my life ago. Crazy. Right. Nearly done with this one, and then I'll try and finish this one. Use the line tool to make the shape of a bottle and move the pivot center and the round. Yeah, there you go. Pro, you know how it goes. Yeah, like you'd make it rotate around the axis or whatever it was. But yeah, I can't remember the names of any of these tools, but yeah, that's what I did. I knew keeping my stuff was worth it. Show a professional game designer all these years later. What do you think of my stuff when I was at uni? Look at that. I think the bouncing ball animation's in those folders as well, but I don't know if I can open the file. I might have saved a video of it, but I can't remember. But yeah, I don't think I can open any of the 3D files, just whatever pictures are snapped from it. For sharing our first year, I feel I could share, yeah. Or the teapot. I remember somebody one of our tutors learned, I don't know if they've still got like the default shape, because they've got all the default shapes like your torus and your cones, and then the teapot in it was in 3ds Max, wasn't it? And I remember one of our tutors was teaching us composition, and he used the teapot and put it on like a rendered bit of water and sort of taught us how to make it look realistic. And that turned out to be absolutely fucking useless. God, the nib on this pen's not having a good time, is it? But yeah, no, learning how to model a chair is the universal constant of 3D modeling classes. Model this chair. Not even as if they got you to model anything fun. Model a flipping chair. Couldn't have picked anything more boring. Things have not changed in 2 decades. The fact that I learned that 2 decades ago is just... God, it's a headbender. But yeah, like I was saying, I still always have that itch that I really want to make a game. But priority one is my artwork now, and like I said, I've only been doing this kind of artwork for just over a year. Like in the first year, like you're figuring out like how to draw, how to up, when you're using social media like YouTube and Instagram for the first time. Specifically for this, you're just trying to figure out the best way to organize your time, the best way to draw. And the one thing I wanted to see was, like, I knew it wasn't going to happen straight away. Like, it was just progress. Can I get enough people's eyes on it, and do they like it enough to motivate me to carry on doing this? And after a year, the answer is yes. Pretty much every comment I've got is positive, like overwhelmingly positive. I haven't got loads of eyes on my stuff yet, like only 240 subs on here. I'm creeping up to 1,000 on TikTok. I'm still only what, a couple of hundred. I think I only just passed 300 on Insta. But like I said, the progress is there, so it's like I know I'm doing something right. So the artwork will take priority, but I'll still always have that itch to want to try and make a game, or even if it's just a level of a game or something. Because it never, even though I kind of abandoned it, it never goes well. Like I still really want to try and do something, like make a top-down shoot 'em up or a side-scroll and shoot 'em up. I used to download tutorial videos from YouTube only to never watch them again because the problem is solved. Yeah. Yeah, my favourite games and the games that I'd like to make are things like Shovel Knight is one of my favourite examples of making a video game, because they deliberately... I think that's such a beautifully crafted game, like deliberately limiting themselves to the specs of the NES minus, I think it was the sound and parallax scrolling, I think were the only 2 changes. They obviously made the sound a bit higher quality from a NES, and parallax scrolling, which you couldn't do on a NES. But everything else, like the colour palettes and everything else, was like based around the limitations of a NES, and it's just a sensational piece of game design, I think. And then when you play games like that, like Hollow Knight's another one, and Ori and the Blind Forest and Will o' the Wisps, when you play games like that, it just makes me think, oh, I'd love to make something like this. Axiom Verge being a big one. Axiom Verge is one of sort of my main inspirations. Cyber Shadow as well. Just one guy, Mecha Skull, who I follow on Twitter, who follows me as well, which is really nice. But yeah, that game's amazing. 2040 is closer to us than 2005. Oh my god, don't say it. I remember when someone, or it was pointed out, that the entirety of the Back to the Future films are in the past now. That just... because that's like one of my favourite films of all time. But to think that the entirety of that timeline is all in the past now, when you went past 2015, you're like, Jesus. Messes with your mind, man. Right, I'm nearly finished with this one. Well, I'm going to have to do I'll do a background to this as well. What I am going to do, I've just thought, don't know why I'm clicking my fingers. Yeah. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do. We getting old though, you're only 25, my friend. You're in the twilight of your life. Twilight? That's the wrong end. Twilight's the other end, isn't it? You're in the highlight of your life. The prime is what the word I'm looking for. Prime of your life. I'm 38 and I'm starting to feel it. All the joints and stuff. Like my knee and my back. Like I went and played football with my kids and his friends and a mate of mine in the summer. And I'm thinking, oh my god. Because I thought, oh, I might play football again, but no. Bit of heads and volleys at most, that's it. Foot golf. But no, I'm not playing football again. I know. Me and my son recently. It was just before the summer. We went through all of those. I remember seeing this. I saw the second one and the fifth one at the cinema. But yeah, we recently went through all those. They're just really good fun. I really like them. I don't think I'd ever be asked about reading the books, but I really enjoyed the films. I thought they were good fun. Half-Blood Prince used to be my favourite, but after rewatching them, I think the last two are just brilliant. Like, I'd say that, but Deathly Hallows. Is it Deathly Hallows? The second part, the very last one's probably my favourite. I think that's brilliant. Really enjoyed that. That's mad, that. Because when was the first one? 99, wasn't it? I was 14 when that came. The problem, like in the sort of late 90s, when like I missed out on SpongeBob SquarePants because I was just a bit too old for that. Because South Park and Family Guy came out just a couple of years before. So that's what I started watching. But Because SpongeBob is like legendary, isn't he? But yeah, I just missed out on SpongeBob. I was too busy watching Eric Cartman be the most horrible child in all of television. And me and my mates from school went and watched the South Park film in '99 as well. Perfect age to watch that film. You were 3. When Guardian Leviosa. Right, I am going to wrap this up. How much battery's on my phone? See, that's why I need to get the subs and all that. Just 39%. I've actually got quite a lot left. We're good. But yeah, because I was going to finish off this one as well. Guardian Leviosa. I don't know why that scene is funnier as an adult. It's because I've got a stupid sense of humour. I laugh at things that aren't supposed to be funny. Like, clearly that wasn't meant to be funny, but I just found it funny just when I rewatched it. And it's just Ron's face when he just kind of it's just Ron's face when she says it, and he looks at Harry Potter as that look on his face of who's this dickhead. Oh, it just cracks me up, that. Who's this knobhead? Guardian Leviosa, I can shove it up your ass. And then they end up snogging. Not in that film, they were too young. In the very last one. It's almost like a parody. Oh, I do appreciate everyone coming in today, by the way. It has made this stream go a lot smoother because I felt like absolute arse this evening. Like, my head is just felt so groggy when it was after I had my dinner. Like, I just felt really groggy and just ugh. I don't know why I bothered going for a nap either. Naps, when people say, oh, you should go for a nap, oh, you feel fresh as a daisy when you wake up. But I don't. I feel like shit when I wake up from a nap. Every time. Leviosa. Right, I'm not leaving it at that because that's not great. What other backgrounds have I done for this? That one took a flipping ages, that one. I'm just looking through the other ones for backgrounds. What background pattern can I do to that? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Keep it nice and simple. Nice and simple. Naps a day, yeah. My work job, I used to work at Direct Line as a sales consultant, but I had to leave that job because it put me into counselling. Anyone who's worked in a call centre will know exactly what I'm on about. That was way back in 2011 is when I left. And then my child was born. My missus, she's got her own business, so she can't take time off like normal people can. But it was just when I was there, it just come in where the father could stay at home whilst getting paid. But when I came back, it was a shit show. So I had to go counselling and all that sort of stuff, and it was horrendous, and it put me in a really bad place. And we were kind of backed into a corner where I couldn't go back there, and I thought, well, we need someone to look after the kids. So I thought, well, I'll be a stay-at-home dad. And my youngest, a couple of years, this was right before COVID. My youngest, she'd started proper school, so I thought, right, now I can focus on doing my work. And the only good thing to come out of COVID was when we were in it, because basically during COVID it was my daughter's first year at school, and that's held her back. Or the worst timing. So she missed a whole year of school. But during COVID, that's when I decided to start doing this. So I thought I can now focus on, because I wanted to go back to work and go and do something. I just couldn't go and work in a call centre because I'd end up being put in a mental asylum. So I said, right, I need to figure out a way to work from home. And I thought, well, over that 10-year period, you figure out YouTube's, pushed on, artists are able to kind of go on it themselves. There was a games course I started from home called Train to Game. Because like I mentioned earlier, I was obsessed with, I thought you needed a bit of paper to tell you could do this job. That went to shit as well. Because you can't be a full-time parent working a full-time job and do the equivalent of a university course. So that I wasn't able to finish it. So yeah, I've just been a stay-at-home dad for 10 years, but my goal is to make a job out of this and retire my wife so she doesn't have to work anymore. That's the job. Or that's the dream, I should say. God, yeah, no, a surgeon. I ended up chopping someone's veins up. Work from home has been my job, yeah. But no, working at a call centre put me in all sorts of hell. Or I should say, when I spoke to my counsellor, she said that was kind of like a big trigger for something that's been going on for a long time. But yeah, it was just such an unhealthy work environment, and I just couldn't go back to a job like that. So I stayed at home with the kids, and we've been all right up until this point. But I'm at the point now where it's like the kids are at school, and I just don't want to be not work. I want to make a job of this, and I just think it's a good. You've got to take a risk. You've got to try, and because my wife, she's self-employed. She does what she, we met in college, and she's self-employed for what she does at college, and it's like, well, that's what I want to do. I want to, do my dream job, and in a way, working at that call centre was good for me because it made me think I can't ever go back and do a job like that again. I need to succeed at something I'm good at, something that I want to do, and something that can make better money. So that's the dream. Our work efficiency was high. Our studio was operating. Yeah, I think it depends on the job. I think I quite like the idea of hearing about it. The mixed thing where you kind of go in for a couple of days. I've still got a couple of friends who work at where I used to work at. And they go in 2 days a week, and that seems to be a really good balance. So you're getting the social stuff, so you're not isolated from people, as well as you're getting to sort of be more comfortable in your home environment. So that seems to be a cool compromise. but I just couldn't go back there. Like, I made an absolute arse of that, and holy hell. But yeah, no, I couldn't go back there. With how little they care about their staff. I used to work in a video game store as well before I did that job, which I really liked, but again, management was shocking. So we had a manager. When he wasn't there, the shop ran smoothly as you like, but when he was there, oh my god. Right, what was I going to do to this? Yeah, I didn't sign that one off, did I? I'll sign this one off. I can use the extra tires I take to reach the studio office both ways, of course. Yeah, like I think it just depends on your job. Like if you've got a job that requires you to be in more, then it makes more sense. But I think a lot of jobs. The reason I think maybe the mix is healthier is because I think having that social interaction with real people, I think it's something people need. But in terms of just like work alone, like if you can work more efficiently from home, then you should do it. It should be encouraged. But yeah, the social aspect I think is important. But it was just at our job. It was just, yeah, it was just shocking. Because you sold car insurance, like the abuse you would get sometimes, like, oh my god. And then you had like a set number of minutes you were allowed to take, so your toilet breaks were timed. Like if you spent more than a certain amount of time taking a piss. So I see you've had a combined total of 12 minutes throughout the week for toilet breaks. Do you really need to be using toilet breaks? Just piss off. You know. Yeah, I could just never go back to an environment like that. So I was stay-at-home dad for a bit, and it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to be one of these guys who just stayed at home and did nothing. I just hate the idea of being that guy. Because, you know, I want to set a good example for my kids. I don't want to... You know, I don't want them to think I'm just some guy who sits around and does nothing. So I want to make a real go of making this into like a profitable business. And the thing is, I've done the math on it. I won't need loads. My target for this is if I make £1,000 a month across everything. So that's YouTube, you know, TikTok views, all the stuff I'll sell physically. If I can get that amount a month, then I'll take that as a success, and then that'll be it. That's the plan, that's the goal. Like I say, I'm just over a year in, And the most important thing that I was seeing, that I wanted to see, was progress. If I can see that there's clear progress, then I know I can keep going. That's a nightmare, yeah. It was not good. Not good at all. I'll leave that one there. Best of luck with your future endeavours. May the force be with you. Thank you very much, Annie. Really appreciate that. The way I see it is, just grind it out. That's all you can do. You know, don't be discouraged. You know, with like everyone that's coming here, you know, who's sort of watched, they've been really nice, really encouraging. You know, it gives you the sort of like motivation to keep going. That you think, right, I'm doing something right, and hopefully that'll only sort of crack on and grow. That's the plan anyway. I'm looking for my, because I've done this one. That's done, by the way. That one's finished. Finito. Hell yeah, the grind don't stop. See, I don't mind the grind, because the grind's fun. Well, in this it is anyway. But yeah, this one is finished. Now I will finish this one. Is this one? I mean, does this pen still work? That is the question. Not really. Or was it the 2 that I used? Was it this one that I used? Might have been that one. It may have been that one, maybe. I'm going to zoom in a bit more. My phone is getting quite hot now. It's all right. I got this one done, so it's good. There's a stream of work there. The problem is going back to a drawing like this, it's kind of hard to find the rhythm because I don't know exactly what I was drawing. I'll try my best. Back for a bit. Oh, you're right, Coop. Welcome back. Your work is my modelling nightmare. Like what they asked me to make this in 3D. That piece on the right sounded very nice. Like the little dots. Oh, thank you very much, Coop. Appreciate it. Yeah, I would like to try and do some 3D work around this, but that's way, way, way into the future. Like mucking about with. I've seen other artists who I like who play about with some 3D stuff, and it looks great. But yeah, that's miles into the future. But I'll try and get this one finished up before my battery ceases to exist. I don't even know how. Where would you start even modelling something like this? Because it's only a 2D reference. It's like I suppose that's where some creativity on your part might be able to come in. Like I just do it as planes. That's all I would do is I would just trace every single line and just extrude it up as a plane. That's all I'd do. Probably incredibly lazy, but and if they bitched about it, I'd say, well, be more specific then. I see 3D printer pen in your future. Yeah, I'd love to use 3D printed stuff. I really want to make collages of my work, like Digital does. he does collages and they're amazing. I'd love to do something like that. Oh, honestly, didn't think of that. Yeah, my first book will probably have done this. You know, you get the front plane, side plane, above plane, and then you just what they call the vectors. Is the vectors? Is that what I'm thinking of? The points. I can't. I'm crap with remembering the names of this stuff. Polygon is the shape. The polygon's the face. The vectors are your points. Is that no? And then you've got your edges. But yeah, you manipulate the. You'll know what I mean. Why have I got vectors in my head? The corners. You know what I mean, though. The dots, and then you manipulate it around and blah 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 blah. God, you can tell I've not done 3D stuff in a while, can't you? Can't remember shit. Vertices, thank you. What did I keep saying? Vector, vertices, thank you. Vertex, thank God. Bloody rubbish, aren't I? Yes, vertices, thank you. I knew it wasn't vector. I just knew it wasn't vector, but I'm like, it's near there. It's around there somewhere. Vertices, yes. Yeah, you know what I mean, I don't know. You manipulate the vertices and sort of make them into any shape you want. Where the line meets, exactly, yes. Yeah, like I say, you can tell I've not I've not done that stuff in a while. Can't remember the terminology for anything. Inset, vertices. I remember bevel. That's the only one I remember. Bevel and extrude. because I used extrude a lot. Extruding out of my eyeballs. It is indeed the most used. Yeah, extrude is it's a biggie, isn't it? Yeah, I did all these exercises of making an object with the least amount of polygons as possible, all that kind of stuff. Where you do like variations of cylinders and spheres, and they tell you about. It's probably a lot. Again, it'll be a lot more sophisticated now, but the whole thing of the more polygons you have in a scene, the more memory it eats up, and it affects speed. So then you've got a, like we were chatting before about, this is where your textures come in and do a lot of the heavy lifting. I remember just as I was leaving, there were, was it the Mega Plane? You might have heard of this, where it's this massive plane. It was like this massive repeating texture that cuts down on memory for like really big maps and things like that. I could be misremembering that, but I remember there was a bit of a. This was just before or just after I left uni. I can tell you right now, I'm not doing a drawing like this again. Or I need to figure out how to tone it down at least, because my goodness. I think that problem doesn't exist anymore. I maybe haven't heard of it. Yeah, it was probably, it's probably a really dated thing now. Like I say, if it was in the late noughties, yeah, they've probably found a much more efficient way of doing that. Do you know what? I'm going to leave that bottom corner. I think that's okay, and I might be able to get away with just... Yeah, I'm going to possibly leave that. This is the fifth This is the fifth dimensional entity that is in my dreams. My work giving people nightmares, love it. The darkened areas are its eyes. Yeah, I'd like to see someone try and recreate this in AI art, eh? Go on, have a go at knocking this one out of the park. Bet you can't. Oh, I keep feeling like I have to crack my shoulders. When you start doing that, Annie, then you can talk to me about being older. Biblically accurate sketch, like those ones where you see the angels, or it's just a load of eyes with wings. Those freaky things. I think there's an artist I follow on TikTok who does stuff like that. Well, one thing's for sure, my overall watch hours are going to be bumped up after this. I think I was on 600, because that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's a year, it's spread across a year, so it's 600. The threshold is 3,000 before you can start monetizing it a year, or is it, I want to say 3 million shorts views. It used to be 10, but they shortened it. I don't know what it is now. Yeah, 3,000 hours of watch time a year and 500 subs. I'm nearly halfway on the subs. I think that will get there eventually, but the hours, I'm still a bit way off. So I think it's 600 I'm at now. 600 odd. Oh, I've just seen a 6th like appear. Thank you very much for that. Nearly finished. Though thanks whoever did the 6th like. I can't remember. My brain's melting. If I didn't, I'll thank you again. Thank you. I'm starting to get sloppy. It's always the most difficult near the top though because of how awkward your hand placing is. Look at that on my finger. That's where the pen's indented into my finger. Like, bleh. Been drawing so long. Right, I am not doing a background for that. Honestly, I think I could do more with this, but I am tapping out because my head hurts. And I've been at this for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Flipping heck. Yeah. I do like it. I do like it. It's alright. It's alright. Yeah, there's the two that I gave you today. There you go. Finish that one off. It looks finished now. It's a nice spread. Thank you, Coob. What, 27 is this now, is it? It says it, I don't know if I was going to go and count for a minute then. It says it in the flipping title, you dunce. But yeah, my battery is now at 12%. So I wouldn't have got much more out of it. And because of the hot weather, my phone is... Okay, I've got a Google Pixel 7 and the sort of where the camera sits, the strip on the back is metal. So it's really, really hot. But yeah, they're the two that I've managed to do today. It's been a long old sesh, but we got there. Thank you so much to everyone who came, and you've made it a much easier stream to be had, because I felt garbage at the start of it, but it's been really nice chatting to everybody. Annie's been really nice catching up, talking about gaming and game design and stuff, making me dig out my old uni stuff. That's a blast from the past. Coob, always lovely to chat to you, man. Hope you have a good one. Dead Hand, thanks for popping in again. Really appreciate it. Vinicius Costa, thank you for popping in. I'm glad I got your pronunciation of your name right first time. The Mad Ding Dong, thank you for popping in, saying hello, appreciate it. And Samantha, first time here, thank you for coming in. If I catch you on your stream on TikTok, I'll give you a shout out as well, because it really means a lot. And if I have any questions for you as well, I'll ask about frames and all that business. But yeah, thanks again to everyone who popped in. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the likes. I'll be live streaming again on YouTube on Friday. But if you check out my TikTok page, I'll chuck up random streams on there, and I'm always putting everything on there anyway. So yeah, check that out. And I'm currently working on prints for some of these works, original pieces, and I'll keep you updated when I've got stuff available to sell. But in the meantime, thanks again, everybody. Hopefully see you Friday, and I'll catch you later.